All right, good morning, everybody. Well, I got to find my cards. What did I do with them? Welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune. Oh, here they are for the 8th day of October, 2018. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and it's Monday and a new day. It's a 9-day, so some completion. I posted a tarot reading last night on the blog at imsteppingaside.com that you can go over and read if you want to. It's kind of a reading for survivors, kind of a what goes on now, where do we focus now, kind of a reading. And so it ended up being really interesting. I began, sometimes when things are happening, like if I'm watching the news or, or if something's going on, I'll oftentimes just start drawing cards to see what comes up. And the first one, I use the Wildwood Tarot deck, so it's not a traditional deck like the Rider-Waite, like what I use here. But the first card I drew was the Blasted Oak. Now that is the Wildwood version of the Tower, which, although is, been hit by lightning and it's falling, people are falling from the tower, and in this case, a man's falling from a branch of the oak tree. It's basically a positive card for transformation. So I knew at that point that we were probably, well, at that point I wasn't actually sure, but I had a feeling it wasn't going to go our way. It wasn't going to go in the way of where survivors are listened to and believed and acted, upon what they say, right? But it wasn't just about survivors either. There was a whole lot of other things that made him unqualified. But yet, here we are. This is typically what happens. And so, I don't know. But then I kept pulling cards, and it just turned out to be a really, the cards turned out to be really insightful. And I think that you might find it interesting, particularly if you're a survivor. So it looks like McAfee is talking to me again here, and I'm going to tell him to go away. There we go. I just hate it when computers come up with things that I don't tell them to. It's just leave me alone. I don't want to do that. I will take care of what I need to take care of. You don't need a pushy laptop. Anyway, what we'll do here is we'll shuffle a little bit more, and we will draw 13 and see what the card is for today. And then, depending, we'll either draw another card or we will, almost dropped one. And then we'll draw a rune and we'll see how the two interact. Okay? So let's count 13 and see what we have for today. 13 is just my process. Well, we're going to draw another card right away because we have the Knight of Pentacles. Court cards are interesting. Here we see a knight. He's adventuresome. But here we have Pentacles, and Pentacles is the earth element. And so that's our physical presence in the world. So, he's a guy who's trustworthy. He has integrity. He's protective of the greater good. And we see him looking out. He's not in, he's got his full battle regalia on, right? He's got his but his helmet is up, right? He's not in full battle mode. And he's basically holding the pentacle, and he's basically holding his foundation, his security in his hands. Or perhaps the security for the group, for the kingdom that he represents, because usually a knight is about, he works for the king, basically. But he's here as protection. You can see the large black horse that he's on denotes strength. He's just watching, isn't he? Only given the direction that he's looking in, you could say that he's looking into the future. But let's draw another card. Court cards are interesting because they can either depict, in this case, a youthful man with passion and integrity and all of that, or it can indicate the message behind it or the qualities here. So we don't really know. And so when it's in a multi-card reading, you can get a better idea because you can see how the other cards interact with the court cards to kind of give them a little bit more meaning. So I like to just shuffle a little bit more when I get one, because I frequently do, and then I pull another card and kind of get an idea either where he's going or who he is or what have you. So okay, we have the Two of Cups. Two is about balance and polarity. It can either be duality with duality itself or polarity between others. You could have self and self in others. You can have, here cups is our emotions. And so what we're talking about here is union. Let's see if I can get over here. She's dressed in white. So there's purity. You see the caduceus above, and that's healing. You see is that a winged lion? I don't usually use this deck. Yes, that's a winged lion. But they're basically joining together in love and harmony, aren't they? So you could say that this legacy here, this that he's holding, the pentacle, which denotes money or legacy or foundation or wealth. The wealth is in our harmony with others, isn't it? And the integration of polarity within, masculine and feminine, spirit with ego. So since we have a 9-day, what we don't have in this country is this. Okay, I think we can agree. Let's pull a third card because I don't think we have the full picture here. But I think that what we're talking about is that we need to think in terms of our foundation and what our true wealth is, and having that inner balance when we have to deal with difficult situations. In this, we want the goal to be love and harmony. Right now, not sure that that's really, thoughts on everyone's minds right now. Usually smugness and victory and all of that usually takes place right about now when people win who shouldn't. So I don't know. This is the goal though, isn't it? And this is what we should be doing. But in order to make this happen between all of us, we need to find that within, perhaps. Well, and then I get the Page of Wands. Wands well, I guess I should show you, shouldn't I? I shouldn't just be disgusted and throw it down. But pages, sometimes they're called princesses in other decks. Pages are usually thought to be undeveloped potential or students or messages or births or something new beginnings. On this 9-day of completion in this year of illumination, perhaps the message is still harmony, that we go forward together here. Look, here's how I see what's going on. All right, here's how I see what's going on. Sometimes I think that we have to be shown what we don't want for us to truly understand what we need to be doing, right? We need to be shown, evidently, because we can't figure it out for ourselves. Patriarchy and misogyny that resulted from it has been around since the dawn of humankind. It got started by the people who created us and the people that they left in power when they were no longer here. That turned into clergy and royalty and all of those things. And the rest of us have essentially been subjugated ever since. Oh, we might have the illusion of freedom, we might have the illusion of strength, we might have the illusion of power and control within maybe a small portion of our lives, but on the greater aspect of it, we don't. There's always somebody else controlling the strings. And what we witnessed is a wholesale dismissal of people that have been so hurt, so personally hurt by sexual assault, whether as children or as adults. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. It doesn't matter. This affects everyone that it's ever happened to. And for one branch of our government, one political party, to basically, give us all the middle finger, well, because this wasn't just about this. They kept things from us to know about who this man was. Now, all this stuff was coming out, and it's going to continue. I guarantee it. We're not done here. All right. We're not done with this. This was a bad, bad thing where reason and harmony and truth and compassion did not guide these people. Time's going to tell what the real reason for this was, and it will. But in the meantime, we just all have to find our inner peace. And whatever toxicity that's within us, we've got to let it go. Our foundation is based on love and harmony and unity with one another. We are not that right now. Now, certain groups are, certainly, aren't we? Survivors are unified in a greater purpose to let their voices be heard. But we're not seeing the other side of the groups who are not thinking that way. They're coming out with some really disgusting things that they're saying. To hear a senator say, well, I believe she had something happen to her, but I don't think it was this person. But you have all the, well, anyway, we won't relitigate this. The point is that at this point, now for us to move forward, we have to stay focused on the true reality of our greater unification in source, right? We are part of the greater unified presence of source energy of the creator manifested into form. We're watching something right now that is very, very destructive to that unity. At some point, that's going to resolve itself. It will take a lot of will on our part to remain whole and integrated and moving forward in that unified purpose to achieve this level of harmony and peace, so that we're not at each other's throats, so that we're not making decisions that upend, well, I would go on to say probably the majority of people in this country. If we were all honest and said what happened to us and what has happened to us over our lifetimes, we've all, they say 1 in 4. I don't believe that. I think it's far higher. So that's basically what I think the cards are trying to tell us. But let's see, where's my rune bag? Let's see what the rune has to say. I think that we need time, and that's one of the things in the tarot reading I posted last night. Because you see, I began pulling cards when the vote was happening. So they were pretty amazing, really, what came out. We may have lost this round, but we've not lost the war, because people are coming out and speaking truth to power and standing up in ways that they never have been able to before. So whereas sometimes a catalyst can be seen as, causing a lot of chaos, causing a lot of negativity, causing loss, causing great upset, sometimes it's necessary to get us to all sit up and take notice and understand what's really happening here. And this is borne out by Ingwas, which is the 22nd rune of the Elder Futhark, and that's 22 is a master number, 11, 22, 33. That's why I'm not, on the numerology, I'm not breaking down 2018 into that and reducing it as part of the day's numerology. I want to keep that as an 11 because I want to see this as a year for illumination. And I think you'll all agree that we're getting a lot of that. A lot is being revealed, both good and bad, and a lot of bad. But Ingwas is, it can be written this way, it can be drawn this way, or it can be drawn as two X's on top of one another, depending on which Futhark you're looking at. But the bottom line is that it's known as a seed. And so you can look at the efforts that everybody made on behalf of survivors as planting the seed for the future harmony and peace that we're going to have, and integrated wholeness. When we can finally, get rid of the diseased mindset that allows for these kinds of things to happen, that puts greed and personal desires over the greater good and over what's right and what's reasonable and what's just. You don't reward good operatives with a judge position, all right? It's kind of craven when you think about it, but that's, I think, what's happened for this man, and that's unfortunate. I don't believe he belongs on the court. He will likely be, as more things come out, if more things come out, there may be a push to impeach him off the court. So whatever this was for, it's being shown for the nasty, craven, demeaning thing that it was. So with survivors continuing to speak out, with survivors continuing to stand up, with those who love us, who continue to do the same, we've planted a seed, haven't we? Inguz is about the desire for expansion within. And so what we want to expand into is our fundamental unity with one another, so that love is our guide instead of the us versus them experience that we're currently having. And so whereas we might feel bad about what happened, and sure, we do, but we planted a seed. We came together as a family. We showed what unity does. True, the old conservative men on that judiciary committee are referring to us as mobs, as the mob rule and all of that. No, he's really talking about himself, and we know that. The mob ruled, didn't they? Yeah. So, but we have the desire for something more, don't we? We have the desire to come together in compassion and love and unity. Because honestly, that's the only way that what we all want to achieve will happen. We're in a time of ascension, folks. And what that means is that we're ascending to a new awareness and a new awakening, that we really are all part of the collective presence of Source, of the Creator, manifested into form. Now, we can go on and ignore that fact, and we're going to be looking at more and more chaos, or we can wake up and realize who we really are and who we really are to one another. We are truly one family. Now, families fight, families get mad at one another. That's true. We all need a little friction sometimes to be motivated. But we hope that the motivation turns into something good, that results in something good, instead of something that gives everybody such pause that they're willing to get on a plane and go protest in Washington, D.C. That should have mattered. In time, maybe it will. So, I guess that's it for today. Go manifest some love and harmony in your life, even if it's just for yourself. Take a little time if you need it, and step away from the television, step away from the news if you need to. Don't allow the triggers anymore, okay? Just walk away from them. You don't need it. We're going to work all this out. We will. See you tomorrow. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Jan Erickson. This has been Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune. Go check out my blog, Stepping Aside, at imsteppingaside.com. We'll see you tomorrow. Blessed be.